Good morning. This is the Marriage Hot, powered by Family Colored. Let me tell you what happened to me when I was newly married. Barely 1 year in marriage, I wasn't told that women need details. It wasn't part of my briefing. And men are very low on details. Every man that travels home and comes back and you ask him, how was the journey? Only one answer: fine. Now, if you've been doing that, I'm sure you'll be quarreling with your wife. So when I entered into marriage some decades ago, I was not told. So I went for a marriage blessing, a full wedding solemnization, and I came back and my wife asked me, how was the marriage? How was the wedding? And every man on earth will answer the same answer I gave to her, which was fine. It was fine. She looked at me and just shook her head and said, fine. What of, the cake? How was the cake? My, oh my, I knew I ate cake, but I didn't think I needed a microscopic examination of the cake. And she said, how were the bridesmaids? I knew some people were following the bride and all, and they probably entered before. But I didn't look at, those people. And then she announced to me that I didn't go for the wedding. Well, that day went uneventful. But it happened severally. One of the days I came back and she asked me, how was the wedding? And my usual answer, which all the men will answer, is, it went fine. It was really fine. If you want to be nice with words, you say it was really fine. My wife just frowned and said, look, maybe you just are not interested in these weddings. I said, I went there and I sat down there. This happened several times. And as many of you men listening to me, I think that you also had this same problem. Maybe not exactly with wedding, but other things. I wasn't briefed. And you probably were not briefed, but I am briefing you now. So one of the days I went for this wedding and I told myself, I need to do something. Tell your neighbor, do something. I did something. It was in those days when we didn't have phones to snap, to show video and all that. But I did something. I went to the cake. I studied the cake. I bent over backwards. I went to the bride. I looked at the bride. The groom looked at the groom, looked at the best man, looked at the bridesmaid, looked at even those tiny people they give the page boy, and then the girl. I looked at everything. I looked at even the decorations of the hall. And then I came back. The only mistake my wife made was to ask me how was the wedding. I pulled a seat and sat in front of her. I gave her the first 10 minutes and she looked at me. She was quite surprised. She said, it's enough. I said, no, it's not enough. I continued giving her for another 5 minutes. He said it's enough. She ran into the bedroom. I followed her. I gave her some more details. She ran into the toilet. I followed her. I gave her some more details. And by the time, we were coming out, we were both sweating. She was fully satisfied. In fact, over-satisfied. And I was also satisfied. I want you to know that was the last time she asked me about any wedding. This thing must have happened about 30 years ago. She never asked me again. So I can afford to go to do any wedding. I will not look at the thing. But the thing it taught me is that When you are going, if you are married and you are going somewhere, carry your spouse along, either in your pocket or in your heart, because she will need information and he will need also information. The clear thing is that the men are usually light on information. They are not deep people, so they can afford to say make one sentence to cover up for the one book the lady wrote. But that day I told myself, this thing is simple. It's an easy thing. And I bent over backward. I want to ask the men and even the women, if you find yourself, wherever you find yourself, bend over backward. It's your spouse. It's your spouse. You are loved. Bend over backward. By the time I bent over backward, my wife got more than she desired. So bend over backward. Some of the things that cause problems in marriage are things you can bend over backward. That's what some people call ene agalo. Ene agalo in Igbo means you look and then you forget about it or you leave it. That's how to live a good life. This is the Marriage Hot, powered by Family Colors.